Hello, hello, and welcome to RetroSlot episode 34. This week we'll be talking about Phantasy Star for the Sega Master System, a bunch of retro news, and checking out some new game pickups. And we're gonna try something new at the end of this video, where when Jay's going through the pickups, we're gonna try and display the game that Jay is talking about. First time, we only talked about it about 2 minutes ago, so I'm just gonna let her rip and see what happens. So if you're watching the
It'll
video
be
version,
fine. It's all fine.
cut me a break, you know?
We're
Jeez.
working over here.
We're working over here. Cut me a break.
How was
you been,
your
Jay?
Yeah, I'm good. Family's getting over being sick, and Wiferton got multiple tests, like at-home tests. Went
Yeah.
and got a PCB test or whatever, but still thinks that she might have had COVID because one of her clients that she went into the house of got got COVID, and the timing of it all kind of works out to potentially her getting it from them.
Really?
So yeah. And now I'm starting to feel sick. It's like, great,
Oh
just
God.
circulating again. Like I was already sick like a couple of weeks ago, and now it's coming back around again. It like just never ends,
Yeah.
you know. But
Well,
yeah,
how old are your kids?
2 and 5. Emma just
Uh,
turned 2 on the 15th. So
you got at least another 10 years of this. Just
great,
constant
awesome, so
sickness.
excited, so excited for that. How was your 2 weeks, man?
Uh, Very good, actually. Me and some friends got together last weekend to play some poker and do like a what do you call it? It's not Skype. It's Zoom. A Zoom chat, and we
Mm,
got on PokerStars.net so we could play a poker tournament together.
okay,
So it was like we were playing
mhm,
poker together, which was really fun.
nice. If
Yeah.
you want to commingle, this is making an awkward situation, but if you want to commingle your internet life with your real life, I
Yeah.
am a huge poker
I
fan.
know you are. I know you are. You're
He's like,
good
we're not
though.
inviting Jay.
You're good though.
Well, I mean, if you have like $5 involved, it's a little
Yeah,
different.
that's what we did. We did a $20 buy-in, and it was just
Yeah.
a tournament. And when you're out, you're out.
I think eating, I used to do a home game and eating some pizza and just kind of bullshitting around. I don't take it quite as seriously, but
Yeah.
I guess I am a little bit of a poker snob, so that's a good point.
We share this actually. Is we didn't know this until after we started the show, but we both played like poker somewhat professionally for a small period of time, like for a living anyway.
A little bit. Yeah, well, it was like and, it was just kind of, extra income at the time,
Right.
just to kinda yeah.
For this is old now. What year was it, or what set of years was it where poker was like the biggest thing on ESPN? It was
It's like 2003, 2004. It was when I was
yeah.
going to college for a bit.
So it was just like everything was all about poker. It's hard to describe because it was a real like strong fad, and the stuff they would show on TV was just those big all-in moments. So that's what most
Mhm.
people who are watching those shows thought that poker was, right? It's just like, I'm going to bluff this guy off, I'm going to push in all my chips. So if you had just a little bit of knowledge about poker, and me being the nerdy asshole greedy bastard that I am, I went and read a bunch of books about how to play poker and just started raking them in. And I live about an hour away from the casinos in Connecticut, and they had poker rooms down there. So I just go down there and get free booze all night, sit there with my iPod, and just like raking pots from drunk assholes all night. It was wonderful.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. Then the
I I'm
online was good too, but man, I had trouble focusing when I was doing the online because you usually like have 6 tables going and like
Oh, I only would do 1
really,
because I was the same way. If I had more than 1 table going, I would completely lose focus and be like,
yeah,
"Ah, fuck it, I'm going all in on this table. I don't even care. I have this other one where I'm doing, I'm top 10 of this other one, so I don't really care about this table over here." It's like, no, no, I didn't like that. Yeah, because if you're doing cash games, sounds like you did more cash games than tourneys, then
yeah,
you're just playing the cards. But for me, I was more of a tourney player, so
okay,
position and like the early there's like 3 kind of stages of a tournament, as you know. Like there's early game where you're trying to play as many hands as you can for cheap, and then there's mid to late game, which is way different. And if if I would just kind of stop paying attention to one of the other games, it was bad news. So yeah, I try to focus on one tournament at a time.
Yeah, I was all about cash games. Now though, it's very different. Poker, the only people who want to play poker were the people who were good back then, who like came out of that came out of that experience like, man, poker was fun. They weren't the people who got shithoused and lost all their money every Thursday night, you know?
I can't imagine we're that much different in skill set is if you've done a bunch of research and had some success. Like we're
Yeah, it wasn't
probably
hard to like get somewhat good at poker, right? Like
yeah.
it's
It's
not like
math,
yeah,
a
but it's
lot of
not
math.
complex math.
No, it's you just have to be able to do it quickly.
Yeah. Anyhow, so that was fun to just see some friends, right? It was like even though we weren't together, it felt like at least we were kind of, you know, giving each other a good ribbing and having some fun and stuff like that. I've been playing a lot of video games too, old games, new games. I've been working on setting up a MAME like kind of setup so that it just works really well. So the problem with MAME, right, is like when you download MAME, you download like this pack of games, depending on which version of MAME that you get. And you want to get like the newest version of MAME. But then when you open up every game, like you have to go with it in there and like configure all the controls and like configure what it looks like and all that stuff. And it can be a real nightmare. So I've been kind of messing around with that and tinkering with it because I'd like to just be able to boot up, I don't know, a selection of probably 50 games that I really like, but just have them always work and always just be mapped to, you know, I have this 8-bit do arcade stick. I'm going to get another one of these and just have them always just work with this, which takes a lot of work because the emulator is flaky and setting up controls to just work all the time for every game is just a nightmare. So not a nightmare. It just takes time, you know?
For sure. Once it's set up, is it good to go or is it like a continuous project?
If you don't mess with it, it's good to go. Like if you just set up, like you're gonna have to like, you could set up like controls for MAME that like every game will just refer to, but most games you find are going to need like that specific game to be set up for controls, for specific controls. Like Street Fighter, for instance. Like it may be like it may go. You want it to go like the top row of 3 buttons to be light punch, medium punch, heavy punch, but instead it goes the top left button is light punch, the bottom left button is medium punch, like stuff like that by default. So you gotta go in there and change it for that game. And then there's like 9 versions of Street Fighter, so you gotta do that for every version of Street Fighter. You know what I mean? So it gets to be a little pain in the necky, but, you know, the ultimate goal is that you can just walk up to the cabinet and start playing, right? Not have to worry about it. And you got to do it for player 1 and player 2, right? Because
I feel like there should be a repository of a lot of these config files like already set up that you can just drag and drop.
there are people charge for them because it's a lot of work to set up.
Sure.
So you can buy like a hyperspin. They call it like a hyperspin drive, where they just send you a hard drive in the mail that has a front end called hyperspin on it, or a front end like launch box on it, with all the games and all the systems pre-configured and ready to go. And they'll charge you, you know, $300 or $400 depending on how big the drive is.
I mean, depending on how much time it's saving you, like, is that worth it? But at that point, $300 to $400, you can almost invest in like one of those custom cabinets and not have to deal with all the hardware part either. So it's like,
Yeah.
then you have to consider like, what am I really saving here?
My wife is very, very against me getting an arcade machine. Very against it.
So what's your argument? What's your debate to her to like try to convince her?
I don't have a good reason why I want an arcade cabinet. I just want an arcade cabinet. Like it'd be awesome to have. Like specifically one, like I want a multicade that can play the Street Fighter games or some fighting games. So it'd have 2 6-button joysticks. And then in the middle it would have a spinner ball so I could play Galaga, which was one of my childhood favorites, which is the one where you use the spinner ball to control like the ship, and the centipede kind of comes down between the mushrooms. And Golden Tee, which was one of my mid-20s favorites. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what like I would focus on if I bought one. And it's not as expensive as you think it is, but my wife just like not in my house, like just really against it. So what
is there anywhere that you can like?
What's that?
Oh,
Uh-oh.
I was just gonna say, is there any way you can lobby to her how she could get some enjoyment out of it?
She's not a gamer.
But like, can you sideload something else that she does as a hobby to interest her?
She's mostly into books, so I guess I could put some books on there.
That'd be kind of weird.
Look, now you can stand here and read this book.
Look what I set up for you.
Yeah, I got it for your birthday. This stand-up book reader with a 55-inch screen. To flip pages, you just hit this joystick.
Dude, you're so considerate. You're such a good gift giver. Amazing.
I really am. I'm marvelous. So anyway, what I think is I could do is just kind of put something together using two of these 8-bit dudes, which are wireless, right? And I have a PC in the living room under the TV. So if that's running the emulator, or if that's running the MAME cabinet, the MAME setup, I could just pull those out, and like a couple of friends can be over, and we can play some Street Fighter. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not the same as having a cabinet.
You could. What if you either custom made? I don't know if you're into like woodworking, but like make like a template almost that you could fit those joysticks into, and then you could potentially just get the ball and have like, I don't know, it would probably be like a 3 or 4 foot long, maybe foot and a half. And if you're sitting with a buddy or even yourself, like it would just have to be light enough that you could put it on your own lap,
Yeah.
or have it or have it on a coffee table or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
just an idea.
I feel like once I get that far, I just want the arcade cabinet.
Yeah, makes sense. It's kind of convoluted, but
Yeah.
at least you can put that away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I would want it in the garage anyway. Because when I'm hanging out with my friends, we always end up hanging out either in the backyard or the garage. Like, it doesn't matter whose house we're at. That's where we just end up hanging out.
Can you cover it so your wife doesn't have to see it?
I can put like a motorcycle cover on it. Just
You're like,
lean
it's
it
not
outside.
in the house.
Look, hon, I got a new motorcycle.
It's not in the house.
Yeah. Do they make like you know how they make outdoor TVs? Can I get in like an outdoor arcade cabinet?
I mean, you could probably figure out some way to cover it somehow from the elements.
Yeah. It's just a very small shed. That's all.
You can't be the first person to have thought about getting an arcade cabinet for the garage. There has to be somebody that has a solution for this.
I mean, my garage is heated too, so it'd be fine.
Ours is not. Ours is cold as shit.
Yeah.
Right now.
That would be okay, except for in the winter, probably.
Cold or extremely hot is not good.
Yeah. Do you think you could, like, would an LCD screen like suffer from cold temperatures, or would it even like a PC?
I mean, anything that's electrical can be affected by extreme temperatures for sure.
I mean, we're not talking extreme. Like, it doesn't get that cold. It's heated garage. I mean, it gets cold when the garage door opens.
I would say anything below 45 is
Really?
probably too cold. Yeah. I mean, like for long periods of time. If you're talking about, it's out there for a few days, a week, a month, that's different than years
Yeah.
cycling through the winters and the summers. And
Anyway.
stuff, connections will like melt or get, what are those little fucking things that you have to, capacitors and things will blow, and
Yeah.
they're not built to be. I mean, even cardboard gets affected by the elements if you're not keeping it in like room temperature stuff. So it's like a whole thing. Anyways, yeah. That sounds like a cool project. Best of luck.
Yeah.
Convincing the wife.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever gonna come to its final conclusion of an actual arcade cabinet, but
yeah,
it'd be nice to at least be able to like just boot up some Street Fighter 3, do something like that.
My wife has I think we've been married long enough where she's just like she knows that if I don't drop something, she's like, "I'm not gonna be able to tell you no." Like, she
Yeah,
knows, like, no matter how much I push back, I know you're eventually gonna wanna get it, or I'm just gonna hear about it non fucking stop, so go
yeah,
ahead and do it. I don't wanna hear about it anymore. She
yeah.
gets to that point where it's like, "So, have you reconsidered the thing that we talked about that I probably don't need?" "No, but I'm not gonna be able to stop you, so just get it.
I
I'll make
think
you
the
happy."
problem with the arcade cabinet is it's so big and it's bright
Yeah.
and it's it just if you put it in a room in a house, it takes up like that is the thing in that room, right? You put that in your living room, and that like if people walk into your living room, they don't notice the nice couch or the beautiful rug or the the nice painting on the wall. They're like, oh, you have an arcade cabinet right in your living room, huh?
It's like the elliptical machine that's out in the open or
Yeah, yeah.
treadmill and stuff, yeah. It's a nice clothes hanger you got there.
Anyhow, should we do with some news?
Yeah, quite a bit of news this week. Nothing huge story-wise, but a lot of little nuggets to get through, I thought. This actually seemed really interesting to me. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm marking my calendar. On January 31st, Nintendo Power is doing a reunion, and
Cool.
all of the proceeds, 100% of the like $20 tickets are going to support the Video Game History Foundation. So this is like basically ex Nintendo and Nintendo Power employees that like worked on the magazine or just like experts from Nintendo are going to be getting together for the first time since back in the day to talk about like Nintendo Power and probably a lot of other Nintendo related stuff. The one name that stuck out to me was Howard Phillips, which was he was the game master. He like knew everything about every game. I'm pretty sure he like trained the if I remember correctly, he was like training the kind of the team that you would call in and get hints and tips and stuff from. He was
Yeah.
like that guy.
His
Um
official title was literally Game Master.
yeah, he was he was like the dude who knew everything about everything.
Yeah.
So lots of marketing team folks and brand management and stuff. It's super cool. Charity
I
event.
think I'm going to tune in on this too. That's kind of neat. $20. It's a charity event benefiting the Video Game History Foundation. I'm all over that. I love their art, which looks to me like issue 1 of Nintendo
Hmm.
Power. Is that right? Is that the art from issue
Hmm.
1?
Yeah.
That's
Actually,
awesome.
I don't think that's number one.
No. Um kind of this is awesome. In a
Oh no,
related
it is.
story,
It is. It is.
I found this website called RetroMags, which it's retromags.com. You can go on there and you can download basically any video game magazine from like any point in time for free, and then you download the whole issue, you load it into an e-reader like on an iPad or on your computer, and you can just browse through it, like flip the pages like a comic, like one of those comic book readers. Have you ever used one of those? It's really fucking nice. I downloaded the
Nope.
first 2 years of EGM just because I thought it'd be fun to like look through like the review crew specifically. Where you remember the review crew had like 3 or 4 editors who would just do like a half a paragraph review of each game
Sure. Yeah.
and then put a number on it. So I was like, I thought it was interesting to just go back and look at like, hey, Mega Man 2, they gave 8s all the way across the board. Generally regarded as one of the greatest games of all time, but it got all 8s in EGM issue number 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and sometimes there's some disparity between them. Like one person would give them a 5, and the other person would give them a 9, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's always interesting to see that stuff.
It's not a review style that you see anymore. And I don't know that it
Right.
would really fly anymore, but I thought it was always really interesting back in the day because you got like 4 mini reviews instead of one like full page review,
That's kind of
like
one
a
of the
Game
reasons
Pro
why I
style.
like Metacritic. So Metacritic, you could just
Yeah,
go and it would have the average of all the major like review sources. And then you could also look at user reviews. And obviously the extremes, like if it's too high or too low, you kind of have to kind of ignore those because either they're rose-colored glasses or they just don't get it. So trying to find the happy medium between
yeah,
those is always nice for I don't know. I like reviews. I don't always use it as an influence to not play something, but if like the majority of the reviews are people being frustrated at this, that, and the other. It's like, okay, maybe I'll just wait on that game, if there needs to be like a firmware update or something. But yeah, I don't know. I like reviews. And I think we talked about it on like Rotten Tomatoes. There's a belief system that I have in place. If the critic review is high and the user review is low, stay away.
Yeah.
If it's the opposite, if like the critic review is mediocre but the user reviews are really high, I'm gonna like that movie.
Yeah.
If they're both high, like Marvel movies and stuff, it's like, all right, it's gonna be a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's generally, I think, the way to go.
So
Now,
yeah,
though, sometimes they mess with you because now sometimes you get these like campaigns that like try and review bomb things.
yeah,
So user reviews can be misleading if it's been, influenced like that.
sure. On Steam and stuff. That makes sense. So the Nintendo Power Reunion is January 31st at 5 p.m. Pacific, for those that are
31st.
interested.
What
And
day is that?
where
That's a Monday.
31st, so I'm trying to see the link. It's on eventbrite.com
Okay.
is where you get tickets. I just wanted to make sure we had that info. That's super cool. 31st. So yeah, Monday. I might be able to do that because Monday's like the one day where I'm actually sometimes have time to do things in the afternoon. So we'll see. Next story is a new book called The NES Endings Compendium has been released. It reveals the NES
Spoiler
game
alert.
endings. Yeah, spoiler alert. Uh, from 30 some odd years ago. The NES game endings from 85 to 88. It's about $20 and it has like pictures and kind of it shows you what the scenes look like. There's literally a picture of like a lot of bosses were Hitler, I feel like in a lot of games. So there's like some pictures here on Nintendo Life from this article that is literally one of the
Is
I
that
can't remember
real? That was
that's Bionic.
they're showing pictures of Bionic Commando where the boss
Yeah,
was Hitler. Is there
yeah.
is there other games where the boss is Hitler?
I don't know. There has to. Well, we've talked about ones where they've had to like change where the original one was Hitler, and then they had to like it wasn't a couple of weeks ago we talked about a game that was that way.
Was it?
Was it
I
Gunstar
can't remember.
Heroes? It was Gunstar Heroes where
Oh, you're right.
like there
That's
has to
right.
be other games out there.
Yeah. Boy, I wonder if anybody's made a list of like all the games that like you kill Hitler in.
I
I know
mean,
two, right? Bionic Commando, Wolfenstein 3D, you kill Hitler. What else? There's probably about several
there has to
Wolfenstein
be
games where
others.
you
There
kill.
has to be others. Like he's the ultimate nemesis. I mean,
Yeah, and like you're not gonna feel bad for killing him, right? Like
no.
you walk away from that was the whistling Dixie
And you don't have to explain shit on the like design side of the game either. Like, why are we killing Hitler? Cause it's
because he's
Hitler.
Hitler.
No
I just added this
explanation
to my
needed.
Amazon cart. I'm definitely buying this. This looks great, actually.
It's like a coffee table book.
Oh, it's
So
only from
apparently,
1985 to 1988, so there's gonna be
yeah,
like
there's
multiple
yeah,
editions of this.
multiple books.
That's
There's
okay.
I imagine assuming it sells well, there'll be like NES, SNES,
Yeah,
potentially other ones as well.
yeah. They should do like a subscription service so I can just like sign up and get them
Get
all.
them every other year when they release.
Yeah, this is great. I'm definitely buying this. I like having these compilation books, like these like collector books, because I'm not going to
Mhm.
collect every game in the NES collection, but it's nice to like leaf through a book and kind of like see some of the stuff, you know?
Yeah. I wish it was Oh, no, you can get it in hardcover. I was like, I wish it was hardcover. Wait.
It's like a paperback cover.
Oh, I clicked the link and it said hardcover, and then I click it and it Oh, no, okay. For $30, you can
Oh,
get the
there's a 30.
hardcover. It says usually ships within 3 to 4 weeks, yeah. So I clicked the link
Oh,
and then I had to
hardcover.
like yeah,
Okay, I'm adding that to my cart.
I like hardcover versus I don't know why, they just, like, hold up better when they're on the shelves and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Weird. Next story is interesting because of, like, some of the Polymega conversation. RetroArch is working on hardware to let you play N64 games on the PC.
Cool.
However, Polymega is also talking about a similar thing, but this is going to be a standalone. The issue with this, as we've talked about, is it's going to be software emulation.
Yeah. You're also going to be downloading a ROM from the cartridge onto your computer. So, like, okay.
Like, you really want to spend, $100, $200 for this? Like, there's other technology that's done in the past, Retroed, which I had, like, but you couldn't get the N64 module. Like, they just didn't make enough, so you
Oh,
couldn't
okay.
find them anywhere. And I think GB Operator also made one, but they're discontinued. So I feel like Polymega and RetroArch are kind of picking up where it's left off. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I really would like a hardware emulation version of this. I guess
This to
a
me
MiSTer would be
sounds
the best.
more for people who want to rip cartridges. Like they have a collection of cartridges, or they want to do save game manipulation, or they want to back up their saves. Like actually playing on a computer from a cartridge to me, I have a device similar to this for Game Boy, and like the only reason I bought it was because I just thought it was neat. It was really cheap, and all I use it for is just like, okay, I guess I'll back up my saves. And I did, you know what I did is I replaced the ROMs on devices that I have ROMs for with games that I actually own, which makes no fucking difference other than that.
That makes it 100% legal if it's your
That's
ROM
true.
ripped from your cartridge that you own. That is one.
Yeah.
There's no gray area there. There's still a gray area if you're downloading other people's ROMs,
Yeah.
even if you own the cart, because you're downloading a version of the game that is not yours. It's
So is
weird.
Polymega, the one for Polymega, going to hook up to a computer, or is it going to be hook up to their current Polymega
No, it's going to be
machine?
on their system. Yeah.
Okay.
But my point was that it's software emulation.
Yeah. I mean, software emulation is so good now, though, that.
For N64, though?
Yeah. I play Mario Golf all the time on software emulation.
Well, you remember the
At 4K.
conversation about as he looks into the camera. Briar looks ironically into the camera while he makes that comment to make sure that you understand that he's just joking.
Yeah. I'm totally joking.
Get busy living or get busy dying. So they talked about in that interview that Polymega is looking for what, an 80 or 90% success rate on those ROMs. Like, it is
Yeah.
not amazing.
Polymega's emulation.
Well, N64 emulation in general.
Yeah. I haven't had any problem with I can't remember what emulator I use, but I haven't had any problem with it. But I don't play a lot of games. I play like I'd say I regularly play like 2 or 3 N64 games.
Yeah. No,
And really, it's just Mario Golf. Honestly, I just like to play Mario Golf on the N64. Well, one day I'm gonna pick it as our pick.
Good, force me. Good.
Take a lot less time than Phantasy Star.
Very true. Yes. Next story is kind of a grown kind of a story, but Konami sells Castlevania NFTs for a dumb amount of money. And the
This
main
doesn't surprise
reason
me at all.
I didn't want to talk about NFTs. I know it's like a whole thing right now on the internet. Like, there's
Yeah.
just a lot of drama around it. But the main reason I wanted to bring this up was just like, how do we feel about Konami or other game companies getting into this fad or industry or whatever you want to call it at this point?
I'm not bored with it. I'm not happy about it. I'm still desperately like hating on microtransactions. Like, so for that to go the step further into non-fungible tokens and whatever else the other way they try and like extract money from my pocket after I've already spent $60 to $70 on a video game. Like, I'm just not on board. I'm not a fan. I mean, to be honest with you, I just want somebody to fucking buy Konami or buy all the IPs, the gaming IPs that Konami has, so that we can actually get some games out of from these franchises that we love so much.
Microsoft,
all right. I tweeted that after they bought Activision. Will somebody please buy Konami so I can get a new Castlevania game? God damn it!
Microsoft, come on! You just spent $70 billion for $68 billion.
I don't even
What's
care who
another
does it. Just
billion?
somebody, please.
What's another billion? One more. I'm sure Konami would sell for $1 billion. Just throw it out there. It's fine.
Like the only thing we're getting out of Konami right now is like these limited run releases of old video games. You know, that's all we're getting, like, as game fans.
Yeah. So here's a question: if they did this, but all the proceeds went to charity, what would your opinion on it be?
I'd say just donate the money to charity. Why ruin the environment doing it? Like,
True.
These things are notoriously power hungry, and like, this is a bad idea. And this is one of those things that we're going to be looking back on and making fun of the people who bought into it, saying, "Is this a MLM?" No, this is an MLM. It's an NFT. I'm like, no, it is an MLM. You are definitely getting scammed. You are 100% getting scammed.
Good for the people that are making money on it. Bad for everybody else. All right.
There's a lot of ways to make money. You don't have to hurt people to do it.
There are now some accessories for the Analog Pocket starting to get released, starting with a water-filled pocket pouch, which I don't know why it sounds sexual to me. Mm-hmm. One of the advertising notes was literally as soft as a puppy's ear. It's like,
what was it called again?
Water-filled pocket pouch.
Can you say that slower?
Water-filled pocket pouch.
Yeah.
I watched the little video on this. It does look convenient, other than the fact that it's a magnetic clasp at the top. It's like, what if somebody just wanted to come and swipe it? Like, you have it comes with like a shoulder thing for an extra $19 or something. And it's just like I don't know, you push the two ends together and you can just pull out the pocket. The problem that I have with this, it doesn't actually protect the pocket itself. Like, what if you're pulling it out and then drop it?
It's not padded? Oh, well, yeah.
Well, it is. If you drop it, it's just like a carrying case. So I want something that's like a cover that's going to protect it from drops.
You want one of them Nerf protectors for the 3DS that I was talking about a few weeks ago. You can't find those anymore. They're not even on eBay.
So Nerf. This is $49 just for the pouch. And then there's like, they have a la carte like options to add on. A carabiner for $3. A wrist loop for $15, or a strap, like a sling strap with a matching cam lock for $19. So you're potentially spending $90 on this if you get everything.
That's ridiculous. For $50, I could see getting it, you know, if I want to put my pocket in my backpack, you know, and just have it protected while it's in my backpack. But not for $90. There's going to be cheaper ones.
It has like nylon on the outside to protect it from rain and stuff, which is smart. It doesn't look like a bad design for a carrying case, but I want some kind of like actual protection for the unit is what I'm
YouTuber Mad Little Pixel did a video when it first came out, when the Analog Pocket first came out, where he found a Pelican box. You know, Pelican?
Yes, those like hard case ones.
Yeah, he found one that perfectly fits the Analog Pocket. It's got foam
probably like a Game Boy
on the inside.
Original Game Boy one, probably.
No. This is for like camera equipment. Pelican makes stuff for like camera equipment, stuff like that. But it just seems, it happens to be the right size to perfectly fit a pocket. So check out Mad Little Pixel.
Nice. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
A new retro style game, like a new game, but in a retro style, called Thunder Striker, is getting released for the Switch, or it was released for the Switch like last week for $12. And it's in the style of like, it looks like a Game Boy game, but it's like a new game in the style of a Game Boy game. So
that's pretty cool.
It's a shmup. It's a top-down kind of 1942, 1943 kind of view.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty neat. $12 on the Switch.
Wait, is there a puzzle game too? I'm looking at video on this website, but maybe I'm just looking at the wrong game. Did they make more than one of these?
No, they made Pixel Game Maker series. Jewel Links is like a different game.
A different Switch game that looks like a Game Boy game.
I think that's pretty cool. $12 is not a bargain, but it's not awful for something like this either. I imagine you could get a few hours of entertainment out of it. And games on the Switch are always fun. So
Yeah. It's an interesting idea, if nothing else. If they make several of these, a collection would be probably a
for
good
like
idea.
20 or $30, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be down for that. I just thought it was neat. This next story is super cool, actually, especially for somebody like you. Wingman SNES accessory allows up to 125 styles of controller to be used on the original NES and SNES hardware.
Cool.
So it's like a little box that you can plug essentially any controller into: PS5, PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, all these like newer controllers into an original hardware. So like Super Famicom, SNES, regular NES, probably normal Famicom as well. This is like a Play Asia, or you can actually get it on Amazon now for $45.
Yeah, Brook sells through Amazon. Yeah. I think they
I
sell through like the arcade companies too.
Yeah. So this is like the opposite of like an 8-bit do controller, 8-bit do
Yeah.
controller. So you can use like everything else on the original hardware as opposed to uh like the original controller on analog or whatever.
This is
So for
neat. It like I'm watching the video they have for it. I'm gonna have to read the specs on it because it appears from the video like they're playing a wireless PS5 controller.
Mhm.
Like because I don't see a wire, so I don't know if that's just deceiving, or if it can wirelessly connect to a PS5 controller using Bluetooth, which
I
is neat.
imagine that's yeah.
Yeah,
Switch Pro controllers, yeah. I'm pretty sure it's like wireless.
yeah. For the Super Nintendo, I'm not interested. I'll be honest with you. It's for the weird consoles like the Dreamcast, where they have like they had an analog stick, but it was shitty, or they had they had a D-pad, but it was shitty, something like that. The Super Nintendo controller is like, how do you improve on that? Like, what
Yeah,
would
it's
you?
really good.
I guess if you had an arcade stick and you want to play arcade games, like a game where an arcade stick would be, then it would
Yeah,
be
there are
handy.
like fight pads and stuff that are supported. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Brook makes a ton of these, like in all sorts of different directions.
for other
So if you,
systems and stuff.
yeah, for all sorts of systems.
They do, yeah. I scrolled down to their page. They have one for Saturn Dreamcast, Xbox Series. Wait, they have one for Xbox? Now I have to see if they have one for PS5 to use my Xbox controller
Probably.
instead of the Cronus, the whatever sold out $100 Cronus thing. Anyways, I'll have to look into them more.
You don't like the
And
PS5 controller?
I PlayStation controllers in general, it's the thumbsticks that are down here. Like
Yeah.
you basically have to hold your hands in an L shape, both. So it gives me like carpal tunnel on my
Mm-hmm.
wrist because you're really having to like stretch out to hit the triggers and use the joysticks. It's just a lot of pressure. So the Xbox controllers are a lot more kind of natural hand position, in my opinion, at least for me personally. I
Yeah.
think that's one of the biggest things is how do the controllers fit your hand for like what console you're choosing? And Xbox has always fit my hands better. So
It's funny. The Xbox 360 I thought was like perfect for me, and when they originally released the Xbox One, I couldn't stand the controller. But they've improved that controller. Although you can't tell, you can't see it. Like if you look at pictures, but if you hold one, like from like an early one and like a late one, they've definitely changed the shape of that.
yeah, little bits here and there.
Yeah.
Refinements is nice.
I love the new Xbox Series controller. Like I really love it.
Well, I use the Elite 2 and it's my favorite controller I've ever used. Other than the
Yeah.
build quality, like they break down
Yeah, they
once
do
a
break.
year, if not more, if you're a regular player. But if you buy from Costco or something, you can get a free replacement. Well, the news that we've been talking about for the last few episodes with the expansion pack, Banjo-Kazooie is finally released on the Switch expansion pack, and I saw some gameplay. It looks nice.
Yeah.
Like it's upscaled a little bit and cleaned up. It's nice.
Yeah, it looks good. They along with this they updated the emulator that they're using on the Switch to update 1.2, and along with that came other improvements for games that they had already release, like Ocarina of Time. Remember, there was like that video going around to the water temple where it just looked completely different.
Yeah.
It doesn't look exactly right now, but it looks a lot better. So it's good to see that Nintendo is continually working on this, and it's not just like we put it out and we're done with it.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to pique my interest at this point.
Yeah, I'll be honest, mine too. I might order a couple of those N64 controllers and add this to the way to play games.
For sure.
Have you ever bought any of those controllers off of Nintendo? The retro controllers?
Oh no, the ones that are always sold out. No,
Yeah.
those are going for like $100+ a piece right now. We do have the retro bit ones. Those N64 controllers, those are nice. The ones that are kind of the Xbox style, but they're a little lighter weight. I don't know. They're still nice to use.
Yeah, I have one of those too. Is it this one?
Yeah, we have the same one, I think.
Retro Fighters?
Yeah, Retro Fighter, excuse me, not Retro.
Yeah. Yeah, this is good. The D-pad definitely, or the analog stick definitely isn't as good as a stock analog stick on a N64 controller, but it's also not as prone to wear, and you don't have to buy something that's 25 years old.
Right, and the issue with that is it's not going to be Bluetooth. But at that point, might as well just use a Switch Pro controller anyways, which I have. So, if you're using something that's newer style.
Well, the problem with N64 games, though, is that they don't match up to a new controller. Because
C buttons and stuff.
The C buttons, right? It's like in a game where you use the C buttons to like look around, it often they map that to like the middle or the right stick on a controller, and that can be awkward, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. The N64 controllers fucked up.
Could you actually, what about those GameCube style controllers? I wonder if that would work because they have like a whole bunch of extra buttons and stuff.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I've never done any research on it.
Because they have, yeah, we'll have to check that out. I think you did the next two stories.
Yeah, speaking of controllers, actually, is Hori's looking for feedback on new retro joysticks designs. And they put a bunch of kind of like photos out there, or not photos, but like pre-rendered video or pre-rendered pictures of stuff that they're kind of tossed around. And these are like wicked retro kind of things. So like imagine a joystick with like an 8-button pad on it, but it also has a spinner and it also has a ball on it so you can play Centipede or something. And when I look at this, I'm like, oh, hell yes, this would be perfect for, you know, a retro home setup where you want to play, you know, some MAME games, or you want to play some Centipede, like I was saying before. It's like this would be perfect for in your living room, or, you know, in your game room, where you don't necessarily want to set up like a whole arcade, but it'd be nice to have at least the authentic spinner for playing Tempest 2000 or whatever. Or if you want to play some Golden Tee with your friends, to have a ball that you could spin, you know, instead of trying to do it with a mouse or with a controller or something.
My brain, because they have some, God, now I can't think of the word either. Some like beginning ideas. The modular design looks really interesting to me. The one that where you kind of like snap in and out the pieces.
That would be perfect, right? It's like if you
mean,
could do a modular one, that'd be great.
Yeah, because that's what the Switch kind of is anyways. And I feel like that's a lot of what the future is doing. It's like use what you need, and then if you need another piece, you can just attach it and it recognizes it. That would be cool. Because you don't want like a big honking thing with everything on it when you're like, I'm only using this thing 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Why would
also, it could, like, the stuff could get in your way too. Like if you just want to use the joystick, you don't want to be hitting like the spinner with your knuckles every time you do a Hadouken, you know?
I like spinning. I like hitting spinners with my knuckles though, Briar.
Look, I don't want to talk about your sex life. We agreed to keep this professional.
We didn't king shame here. Yeah. All right.
I don't know. I hope they make these. I'm with you. I hope they make the modular ones where you can just kind of like keep adding to it. And even if you could just, like you said, is like make like a 2-player panel. If you just keep adding to it, like just keep going across. You know, it's like put a joystick on, put 6-button panel on, and then maybe a blank, and then another joystick and a 6-button panel, or put, you know, a couple of blanks with a spinner and a couple of buttons and another blank. So maybe you could even like build an arcade cabinet with this as the controller, so that no matter what you're doing, you can just kind of throw in the pieces that you need. I love this. I hope they make this. Clearly they're like testing the waters to see how much interest there is in it.
Everybody vote modular.
I mean, just say you want something, because nobody makes anything like this anymore.
It's cool.
You could, if you look, if you follow Hori on Twitter, you can find what the pictures, or if you go to Retro RGB, they have retrorgb.com. You can see what I'm talking about. This one was really cool. This is a new power supply for the Tower of Power. So if you have a Sega CD with a Genesis on top and a 32X on top of that, you'll know that each one of those devices has its own power supply. And each one of those power supplies is the size of a male fist, right? They're huge. They each weigh about 14 pounds, I think. And you got to plug them in separately, right? And like most power strips, you can't fit all three of them on. Like you'd have to get like 2 power strips. You definitely can't fit them, obviously, in a standard wall socket because there's only 2 outlets, right? So it's always been this weird thing. So what this company has done is they made one power supply that then you buy a pigtail for, and it's got 3 outlets, and you just plug all the 3 into the 32X, the Genesis, and the Sega CD. And it's actually really cheap. I think it's on sale right now for $5.99 for the pigtail and like $20 for the power supply. So if you are one of these people that still has a 32X, a Sega CD, and a Genesis, this is a really nice way to clean up your setup. I ordered one. Even though I don't have a 32X currently, I plan to get one. So
I don't have that setup at all. I actually missed out on a setup inbox on Mercari without realizing it because they were messaging me, telling me what they had, but they didn't. Yeah, I made a mistake. It's fine. I haven't been on Mercari in like a month. I need to keep it that way. That's cool, though.
So, Phantasy Star?
Phantasy Star.
Phantasy Star, 1987, 88 for the U.S., right? This is, I would say, a pretty famous at this point Sega Master System RPG, and this comes from the early days of RPGs, but is graphically, I would say, incredibly impressive. It's unbelievable. You see screenshots of it, and it looks good. We all know that Sega Master System technically had more power than the NES back in the day, and the colors, I think, were brighter and more cheerful than what the NES was displaying. But what this game is doing graphically, I think is outstanding. It does this thing in dungeons where it's first person, and you actually like move down the dungeons first person, and it's a pretty smooth frame rate at which it does that, and it's a pretty cool effect. Also, the battles are first person as well, where your enemy actually pops up on the screen and is animated, which is not this is not something that you see in games like in RPGs of this era. I gotta say, technically, this game is incredibly it's kind of mind blowing. Like I had no idea how advanced this game was.
Yeah, a lot of really cool stuff in it. Do you want to do a little synopsis about the game for those who haven't heard of it before?
Sure. So it's a RPG, obviously, that came out for the Sega Master System. So this was Sega Master System was contemporary with the Nintendo Entertainment System. You start off right off the bat. You find out your brother is dead, or you find out the main character's brother is dead. Right, like that's the first scene of the game. And your quest is to go and avenge your brother's death and take out the dictator. Do you remember the dictator's name?
There were like really interesting almost like old English type names. I don't remember what the name was.
Yeah, it was like Lactus or something. I can't remember his name. Anyhow, so you go and you start your adventure from that point. You're basically like avenging your brother, trying to free the galaxy of this dictator. And there's I believe 3 planets that you can go and explore. There's multiple party members that you can find, including a cat named Meow.
But spelled differently.
Yeah, you find, and you kind of it's an RPG where you pick up your party members as you go. One of the interesting things I find about it is that you see a cutscene at the beginning of this game explaining how your brother just died and starting you off on your quest. And then you are just left to, okay,
Have fun.
go figure it out.
Yep.
And it's I played I think you did too, is the Switch Sega Ages release of this game, which does a lot to make this game a little bit more approachable. It puts a mini map on the side of your screen to show you what the dungeon layout as you discover it. It also makes the game have less frequent enemy encounters, random enemy encounters when you're in the overworld, as well as giving you more money and more experience per enemy encounter to just kind of make the grinding a little less. Even then, I was like, you walk out of your first arena and you basically could get killed by anything you run into right off the bat.
Like one hit. Yeah.
Yeah. So you are forced to, luckily in the first town, there is a healer that will heal you for free. So you basically have to go out, get into one random encounter, and then get back inside before you can get into another one so that you can heal yourself and go back out and do this multiple times to just get enough experience that you can even walk around in the open world.
And then you got to start buying equipment and all that kind of stuff.
Right. And go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I had about 4 hours with this game, and that 4 hours was juggled between me trying to focus on the game and then, helping out my children that were yelling at me that they needed something, or because it was just me and my son at home. So, and I hooked him up with Minecraft while I was playing, and I would play for like 10 minutes and he'd be like, I need something. I was like, all right, go out there, help him, come back. So it was a lot of back and forth, but there's a lot of amazing things about this game, and there's some minor kind of annoyances. As you mentioned, kind of being left to our own devices, you're like, well, if I don't grind for a little bit, I'm gonna be screwed. So you gotta spend considerable time in the beginning, because as a solo character, Eris, right? I think ARIS is what it's spelled. And she's one of the first female protagonists in gaming as as a whole, along with Samus for Metroid, of course.
To be fair, previously most protagonists in gaming were like square dots or circular, Like they put a bow on Pac-Man and called it Miss Pac-Man.
Dude dots, yeah. So there's a lot of grinding in the beginning, and I didn't use a guide at all, but I only played for 4 hours. So
yeah,
I was able to get to the second planet. I was able to grind that a little bit.
You figured out how to get the pass?
Figured out how to get all that stuff by myself.
How in the hell? Okay, so to get is it called the road pass?
Yes.
Okay, to get the road pass in this game, you have to go to a town, like kind of like a little bit east of the town you start off in. Go to a specific shop. There's 3 shops in every town, and find a guy who's selling a secret. And when you try and buy the secret, he says, no, go fuck yourself. So you leave. To buy the road pass, you have to ignore him and ask to buy the secret again. To which he will say, no, go fuck yourself. I already told you that. And so you leave. If you ask a third time, he will finally agree to sell you the road pass. So how did you figure that out?
It took me a long time, and so I was grinding, and then I went somewhere to the left, and I talked to somebody. I was like, am I missing something? And I talked to somebody. They're like, if you want to make a deal, go to the town to the east. And I was like, it's literally telling me to do something in that town to the east. So I went back. I had already gone to all the towns and stuff multiple times, and I went back to the town, and it said secrets, and I was like, the fuck does secrets mean? So then I went and grinded and got 200 money or dollars or whatever, and then went back and tried to buy it. And he's like, no, go fuck yourself. I was like, okay, that's weird. And immediately boots you out of the conversation. It's not like, would you like something else? I'm like,
right.
There's something there. So then I tried to talk to him again, and he's like, no, I already told you, go fuck yourself. And so I was like, that's a different message. Usually if it's locked, it'll be the same message. Like,
yeah.
I wonder if this is like one of those situations where you have to talk to the same person like 3 times and they'll finally give it to you. So then I went back a third time and like, here you go. I was like, oh, easy. All right. So then I went back and and then went to the second planet, and then you get the cat, and I started so one of the annoyances is, as you play some newer RPGs, which first of all, I love turn-based stuff because it's chill and you can kind of do things at your own pace.
Yeah.
But as you're trying to level up a second character who's super weak, like level 1, gets one shot by everything, if they die, they get no XP. At least that's how
Yeah,
I
you got to bring
interpret
him
it.
to town and get him resurrected, right?
So your main character who's like level 10 and strong and can tank everything is fine and gets the XP, but then your level 1 that you need to rank up doesn't get the XP if they're dead. So it's like, okay, as Briar mentioned before, you can have enemies that are approachable, so like maybe 10 to 20 HP, and like you every time you hit them, they lose like 5 or 6. But then there's other ones in the same zone, like in the same area that have like 60 HP and just like essentially one or two tap you.
Yeah.
So you have to try to run, and then sometimes you can't run. Sometimes you have to
Yeah.
use your magic to run all
Save
this stuff.
often in this game.
Yeah, yes, it's lots of saves. And I got to a point where I was like trying to go north to discover I hadn't gotten like the torch or anything yet. But I enjoyed my experience.
Yeah.
I want to keep playing. It's just like we only have so much time in the 2 weeks
Yeah.
and families and everything.
Most people say this was somewhere between 12 to 20 hours to
Yeah.
complete, so it's not that bad even. Right?
Probably with a guide if you're not brailing away
Good
through
point.
it, like.
Good point.
But so that was kind of a minor annoyance. And if you faint, you like restart back at your
So did you ever
original
go
save.
into a dungeon?
There was a couple of like rooms that you could get, little things to get your pot or whatever to get the character. It's from a dungeon. But it was like, yeah, I only went into like one or two. All the other ones were like it's either too dark or you need a key, and I hadn't
Yeah.
gotten there yet. So
Yeah, you
I was doing
you gotta
most of the
buy.
grinding.
So it's funny that there's 3 item shops in this game in every town, and they each sell different stuff. Like one is for armor, one is for I think food and like like life restoral stuff, and one is like for like random items. You have to buy flashes to light up
Oh, that's
a dungeon. So which to me was not obvious, right? It's like
no.
I'm like you. I'm looking for a torch or
Look
something.
for a
Like a
torch,
flash
yeah.
to me says like it's gonna flash, but then it's gonna get dark again. So
Yeah.
it's not gonna be helpful. I need like 100 of these.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, health items are cola and burgers.
That made sense. I was like, you've played games where food is.
I guess.
I will say, like, playing this in the limited time that I played it, I have the sense that if I keep playing, I will be able to figure things out eventually. Like, it's not
Yeah.
impossible. There's limited options for things because it's kind of a smaller game. It's not so vast like a Link to the Past, where it's just, if you don't know the specific place, the specific person you're talking to, you're fucked. It
Yeah.
it feels more linear in a place. It's like, okay, the planets are kind of open world, but they're really kind of small
They're not that
environment.
big. Yeah.
And there's only so many things you can do. So I don't feel so overwhelmed that I need to use a guide right away.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you get stuck for a certain amount of time, I will be looking at a guide. But the Switch version, being able to walk faster, did you change your walk speed?
Yeah.
Just like zooming across, that was super convenient.
Yeah.
Um,
The Switch version is the way to play this.
yeah.
I am actively looking for a copy of this, a complete in-box copy of this, because I am so in love with it that I just want it in my collection. But it gets pretty expensive, so I'm looking. I'm kind of like just keeping my eye out for a good deal on it.
So on that note, I ordered a copy over a week ago. I found somebody on Amazon that was selling a like new. They said like new copy. It was like $160, which not cheap, but a like new copy on eBay was in the 250 to 300 range.
Mhm.
So I asked him for pictures and he sent me pictures and he wasn't lying. This shit was like new. So I ordered it immediately and it's been in transit for over a week. It has like the original poster in mint condition, the
Oh,
manual
really?
part, everything's in perfect condition. Like 160 for this game on eBay is like cart box, maybe the manual, but it's pretty beat up, is what you would expect for 150 to 200.
Yeah.
But a mint copies have been going for 250 to 300. So getting this for 160-ish is a
I almost
decent
pulled the trigger on a copy for $100, but it didn't have a manual, and it's like, you know what? I really want the manual on this one.
yeah.
Yeah.
So mine, it was coming from Kentucky, I think, or Kansas, one or the other. It went, I think, whatever the one that's most east. I'm bad at directions. I think it's Kansas, and then it went to Iowa, and then Kentucky, and that's where it's been in a week. That's how far it went because I think there's like bad weather and stuff there.
Yeah.
So next episode, I should have it.
Good. I hope it comes still new.
Yeah, no, the pictures he sent were impressive. So I was like, all right,
Good. Yeah, I think I don't always pick up the game that we do for the week, but this one impressed me so much that I really want to add this one to my collection. Like I really fell in love with this game. Like graphically, it's just so special. Like it's insane to me that this was happening at the same time that I was playing like Dragon Warrior or Final Fantasy 1. Like cuz it's like technologically it's just such a step ahead. You know, like graphically, the music also, we didn't even talk about the music. Music is extremely good. Like right off the bat, you're like humming along like almost immediately. And there's two different versions of the music depending on which Sega Master System you had, whether it incorporated, I think was it the FM chip or I'm not entirely sure what the details.
That was the Genesis thing, the FM chip, right?
I think it was the Master System too, because I think the Sega Mark III in Japan, which this game came out with, had. I'm not positive. I'd have to look it up again. But in the Sega Ages collection, you can choose between the Japanese or the American version. They're both good. Honestly, I didn't have a preference on which one I was listening to. They're both good. I was really blown away by this. It feels old. Like mechanically, it feels old. There's not a ton. Like the people in the game don't have a ton to say. Like. You know, this game was on a 4 meg cartridge. It was, it looked really good.
One of the earliest cartridges to include battery-backed RAM.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Which we should probably replace if we get a
potentially.
Copy.
Yeah, well, we'll see. They're not that tough. You just got to desolder.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember one of the other minor annoyances as far as RPGs go. When you do the random encounters, sometimes you get one enemy, sometimes two, sometimes three. But they'd be, because you're in that first person perspective, they're like stacked on each other, meaning they only show you one enemy.
Yeah.
And that is frustrating to me because it's RNG as to where your attacks are actually going to land. So instead of, if you think about an RPG now, it's like, okay, I want to focus on the highest the enemy that's the biggest risk to my team. I want to kill them first, right?
Yeah.
But you can't do that. It's like, imagine all three enemies have the same health because the same enemy. As far as maybe they later have multiple enemies.
I've never seen it. I've only seen the same enemy.
Always the same. Okay.
Yeah.
So all three of them have, let's say 50 health. You hit one, it goes down to 40, then you hit another, the next one goes to 45, and then you hit another and it goes to 48, and then you hit another and it goes to 40. And like, it's never, you can't focus on one enemy to take them out. So that makes you more vulnerable because they attack you 3 times in that scenario because it's like 1 per enemy.
Yeah.
That was an annoyance to me.
It wasn't it wasn't actually clear to me what was even happening at first because I didn't realize there was only one enemy on the screen. So I assumed I was fighting one enemy. I didn't realize that it was showing me, like, I think one of the early enemies called Botfly or something like that. And there'd be like Botfly and then a number next to it. It didn't occur to me that was how many Botflies were there. I thought maybe it's like a level 2 Botfly or a level 3 Botfly. I wasn't really, didn't know what was happening. So it took me a minute to figure out. Once you get the Odin character in your party, that actually helps with that a little bit.
Okay.
But it's still, it's old. It is old. Some of the mechanics are old and they feel old.
But it's different in the way of like Final Fantasy, which came out. They were 2 days apart. Final Fantasy 1 and Phantasy Star came out, but like within the same week. And Final Fantasy has a system that you can target specific enemies and stuff, which I prefer that.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree 100%. And if there's 3 enemies, there's 3 enemies on the screen. So you know right away you're fighting 3. I don't know.
But it was still fun. I
Yeah.
enjoyed my limited time with it, and I want to continue for sure.
Yeah, it's a perfect Switch game too because you can play a little bit and then just pause it. And I'm really impressed with that Sega Ages collection in general,
Mhm.
and this Phantasy Star addition to that. For I think I paid $5 for it. I mean, to me, it's the way to play this game right now.
What I read was you can buy. There's a collection that includes this on the Switch that's like $20 that has like 30 games on it or something.
Really?
Uh, yeah, but that's like the original version,
Oh,
not the
oh,
Sega
oh.
Ages version.
Yeah,
So the Sega Ages version is the one with all the improvements for $8. But
yeah,
$8 for a game with some noted improvements to experience is awesome, in my
yeah.
opinion.
Unfortunately, all the Sega Ages games were on sale like 3 weeks ago. I think it might have been like actually a month ago because I think it was one of our news items on the
Did
show.
you say you got it for $5?
Yeah, I think I got it for $5.
I
It, mi-
spent 8.
it might have been $4. They were really cheap. All of the Sega Ages games are good too. It's like if you just search Sega Ages in the eShop on the Switch, I hope they come out with I hope Limited Run does like a collection like of all of these on a cartridge because
That'd be dope.
these are great. All of these are great. I mean, they kind of did the definitive version of a lot of Sega classics on the Switch with the
Mhm.
Sega Ages collection.
Switch is just marking itself as kind of a definitive platform at this point. I mean, it's outsold the Wii now, which is huge.
Has it?
Like 3 years in or whatever we're into the Switch now, it's already outsold the Wii, which the Wii was one of the top. It was like top 3,
Yeah.
top 5. I don't remember. It was up there.
From what
I think it's gonna outsell the PS2. This is gonna be the best-selling console of all time, in my opinion. It's only a matter of time.
I mean, we have 4 of them in this house, so
Yeah.
like
I
we
wonder
didn't.
if
I
that's
never
why
lived in a house with 4 Wii's or 4 PlayStations. You know?
I'm curious if that's why they're taking their time to release a new version of the Switch.
Yeah, I'm sure because
Because
the transitions for Nintendo have not always gone smoothly.
well, I mean, to hold the record, because,
Oh.
once they have a Switch 2, that's a whole new ball game as far as sales go. You consider like PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, it's all tracked as different sales.
I'm just curious of what they're gonna do for their next console. Like, are they gonna do a Switch 2? Are they gonna do something completely different? I have no idea. I'm so
I don't think
curious.
they're gonna move away from this formula.
No, it is a good formula.
Because if they moved away from this formula, they'd have to bring back handhelds in some form. I don't think they're gonna go backwards. This is it. They might have different sizes. Like I want a smaller form factor, more like a Vita. Um,
Mm.
and then keep kind of the bigger one as the definitive. Because the Switch Lite to me is not small enough. You
No,
know, it takes away the convertibility, and it's not different enough in price, and it's not different enough in size for me. It needs
yeah,
to be smaller and cheaper for me.
yeah. We have 2 of those. I like the Switch Lite a lot, but when I play games, because I like the Hori Split Pad Pro so much, which are like those chunky controllers.
Yeah.
I always play on now I have the OLED one, but I always play on the big one.
Imagine they had a Vita size one for 100 to $150.
That'd be good. I would buy it. It'd be too small for me, but it'd be good for other people. Like,
Sure.
I'm happy to see it happen.
I was telling Briar about this before the show. I had totally forgot that I had the Phantasy Star collection for Game Boy Advance. I thought about giving this a shot as my like playable version, but then I watched that video that Briar was talking about. Who did that video?
My Life
The
in
Retro
Gaming.
Life or My Life in Gaming?
Yeah,
And basically it's a down res version. It's like 240p, and they crop the screen, which I'm not a huge fan of. Like I can deal with smaller resolution because it's a smaller screen, but you start cropping out area and stuff, it makes it tougher to play. You don't get to see as much, all that stuff. So I was like, $8.
yeah.
I can do that. I can do $8.
How much is the that Game Boy Advance game worth?
Not a ton. I mean, I
No?
think I would have to look. I think off the top of my head, complete copies in the 50 range.
Because it's an interesting package to get the first 3 games all together. It'd be nice if it had the 4th game too, Because then you'd have like
Yeah.
the kind of the complete like kind of mainstream RPG games in the Phantasy Star universe.
Yeah, so I was right on the head. Complete copies 50 to 60, loose copies 20 to 25.
Oh, that's not bad.
No. Uh I do. It's funny because I've been trading more recently instead of like buying and selling. And I have a copy of Phantasy Star 3 complete coming for Genesis as well from
Oh,
Sega.
nice. I played on the Genesis when they were new. I played Phantasy Star 2 and Phantasy Star 4 to completion. And people talk about Phantasy Star 3, and all the concepts within sound very familiar. So I suspect that I played Phantasy Star 3, but I don't remember ever owning a copy, or maybe I rented it or something. I don't remember. But that's the one that has the generation system, I believe. So you start off with characters, and then you choose who you're going to marry, and then you start playing your children. And then that happens again, so you end up playing your grandchildren at the end of the game.
Well, that's one of the points too of Phantasy Star versus Final Fantasy is that the stories are progressive from game to game. They're like true
Yeah.
sequels as opposed to Final Fantasy that has like kind of
Nothing to do.
loosely related storylines, not really. So
All right, let's see some pickups, Jay. What do you got this week?
so first of all,
do you
as I was
recommend
men-
Phantasy Star? I think you do, right?
100%,
Honestly.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
this
recommend
is a
the
game
Switch.
worth playing.
Yes. I do want to. I don't mention this every time, but as I was saying, I've been more into trades lately. I have quite a bit of stuff to trade. So, if you're interested in trading or selling things that you own, if you're looking to get rid of stuff, hit me up. DMs are open on Twitter. Standing offer of like 40 to 50% of market, which is going to be better than GameStop and stores. So, anyways, just got to put that out there. Shameless plug. All right. So, Briar is going to try to put gameplay of these games on live as we talk about them. We're going to go through, I have quite a bit. We're going to go through the Retro Game Trader, is my local game store here in Portland. And I picked up some stuff yesterday. Actually, I took my son to the retro game store kind of for the first time since he'd gotten into video games. And he's like looking, they have over 1,000 titles for Switch on their wall. And he's like looking at the wall and he's just like, and he started to pick out stuff. He's like, that's Minecraft. I'm like, yeah, it's Minecraft story mode. He's like, I want that. It's like, slow your roll. He's very
Get a job, you fucking deadbeat.
No, the problem is their Switch games are like double market price. So I'm like, well, look and see if we have that at home, bud. Because that's what most people are buying right now. So like a $20 game they have marked for 40 and so on and so forth. I try to pick stuff that's right in line with market, which is generally the older stuff. But he was like Paw Patrol and all the others. There's like Paw Patrol games and all sorts of different kids games. I was like, all right, well now I know what you're looking for. So it was fun. And he said somebody that was working there, he's like, I love him because that person was like asking Theo questions about Minecraft and like really kind of bonding with him over that. So he enjoyed, he got a kick out of that. All right, we're gonna do Game Boy titles first. So I'm just gonna tell you straight up regular OG Game Boy so that Briar can get it ready in the right directory.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one is Mario's Picross for Game Boy, which is like a puzzle game where you're like making faces and stuff, which for some reason it says 49. I think there's a Game Boy Color version of this that's cheaper, but for some reason the Game Boy OG Game Boy version is quite a bit more expensive. $50 is right kind of in range with he's going and trying to find, yeah, there we go. Got some video of it on the screen, got the intro, but so now I'm ready to go on to the next game.
Well, you did a lot of lead up, so there's a long time where I was just waiting for the game. So if you say the game first and then you tell the story about the game,
all right,
then we'll see more of the game.
So the next game we'll go with is, what letter are you on? You're on Picross. We'll go with Turrican, regular Turrican. So I actually have Mega Turrican for Genesis on the way as well from a site. And Turrican is like a platforming shooter game, and it's on Genesis and stuff too. This is like the Mega Turrican's one of the heavy hitters for Genesis too, as far as collectability. And so this one, yeah. So this one is not a great game for Game Boy, but it's serviceable. I wish there was a way that you could just like skip the Nintendo screen.
Yeah. I don't think Game Boy games are going to have a lot of attract modes either, although this one seems to.
Okay, so there's the intro for Turrican. And the next one, we got 2 in the A's. Wait, one of my games missing. Oh no, it's right here. So Adventure Island 2 for Game Boy, which, you know, Adventure Island is a platforming game, highly reviewed. I don't know how the Game Boy version is, but there's 3 Adventure Island games for NES that are all quite good. I don't know if there's 3 for the Game Boy or not. There might be.
What's the name of the main character? Is it Higgins?
I have no idea. I haven't
For
played
the Adventure Islands games? It was something like that.
Sounds like, is he a butler?
Oh, it was
Boss's
Magnum
shirt.
PI's boss.
He got stranded on an island back in the Stone Age, and he's trying to make the best of it. I get it.
He's got a weird name.
Did you
These
ever
games
play-
are intertwined with the Monster World games too, in really funny ways.
Okay, makes sense. And that one that just showed on screen almost looked like a little Nemo character, the little like frog dinosaur looking thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it's not Capcom, it's Hudson Soft. So I played this game a lot as a kid. Battle Bowl. Did you ever play this?
No, I never heard of that.
It's like a puzzle game where you're in a little, I don't know, like a little futuristic kind of planet tractor ship thing. And I really enjoyed it as a kid. It's almost like, I wouldn't say Bomberman, but it's kind of in that like top-down view puzzle-y type game where you're moving blocks around and stuff. It was one of my favorite games as a kid, actually. On my game, it was one of the few games I owned, but I really enjoyed it. And then I've completed a set for Game Boy. I have both of the Penguin games for Game Boy now: Penguin Wars and Amazing Penguin.
Oh man.
I'm kind of screwing Briar over. Go to Amazing Penguin instead of Penguin Wars.
Okay.
They're...
Well, now you're back to collecting.
So Amazing Penguin is more of a sought-after game. It's by Natsumi, and they're both puzzle games, actually. Amazing Penguin seems like it's a little bit more complicated of a game, but they're both kind of puzzle games involving penguins, which is super cool and fun. I don't know. I like obscure games. So he's showing gameplay of Amazing Penguin there on the screen. And then Penguin Wars is basically almost like a tabletop tennis game where you're, think behind Little Mac, behind a table tennis game, and you're like throwing shit across the table or hitting shit across the table or something. Yeah, I actually paid up for this one a little bit. It only goes for about $10, but those weren't playing, so it's whatever. I just wanted both Penguin games that they had.
Yeah, complete the set. I mean, can't just be sitting there with one Penguin game.
I know, right? So once it has to do the intro again. So the next one is NES. I'm gonna take a drink of water.
Okay.
I'm just gonna try to get that one. So if you're listening to the audio only version, you're like, what the hell is going on? Basically, Briar is going through his Mister, right?
Yeah.
And he's putting the games on screen live as we talk about them. So I'm trying to be quick, but also give people
am I
that are
supposed to
watching.
dodge these or? Oh, my penguin is not looking good. This rabbit is fucking my penguin up.
You're actually playing it right now?
Yeah. I don't know the buttons. I don't even know the point of the game. I lost. All right, you got an NES game?
Yes. So 3 NES games. We'll start with this one. So Hatris.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So as I was telling him what games I wanted him to pull off the shelf, I was like, Hatris. He's like, Tetris? Hatris.
No.
Hatris. No, Hatris. And I looked up the gameplay video.
Don't make me say it again.
It's literally Tetris with hats.
Of course it is. It's Hatris.
Like, it could not have been a more appropriate name for a game, because it's literally like blocks falling in their fucking hats, and you have to, I think, match them up. It is not a good game. But
I can't even make it start. I'm completely stymied.
Does
Does it have the game? The music?
I don't know. I'm just.
I'm I'm completely stymied by the select screen. Like I can't make it start.
I want you to see this game before we move on to the next one.
Well, that might be above my capabilities here.
That's a cute menu screen. Can you hit like? Is it the little heart thing in the middle, or hit the start button or something?
I can't seem. Oh, there we go. Oh, damn it. I think
Here's
that's the music
Briar
select.
in his natural habitat, trying to figure out how
Oh,
to
there.
play the
Okay,
game.
okay, okay. Here we go. Oh, there's 2 hats falling. That's not fair. Can I switch the hats? Oh yeah. Okay. Top
Match
hat.
the
That's
hats. It almost looks like it's like Tetris mixed with Dr. Mario because you
how
have
many
like, the
hats
two
do I got to
pieces
match? Like
connected.
5. Damn, that's a lot of hats.
Not.
This game doesn't look very good. I'll be honest.
All right, on to the next. Okay,
Yeah, on
so
to
the
the
next
next one.
one, which is actually a decent game called The Last Ninja,
The
which
last
is
ninja.
it's almost like an isometric fighting game, kind of like Turtles 2, where you're kind of at an upward angle. And when I was looking at the cart, he had 2 and he put them side by side. He's like, it looks like they're dirty. But no, there's like a faded effect on the actual cart where it gets kind of beige here. And
Oh,
it looks
like
kind of
it's printed on old papyrus, like a
yeah,
ninja
that's what it looks
scroll.
like. But both copies looked exactly the same. I was like, no, that looks like it's intentional because like it's not wear on the label. It just like looks kind of faded there. It was really kind of interesting. But it seemed like a solid kind of fighting game. It says game
It's
of
a
the year
fighting game?
literally on the cart. When did they put game of the year on the cart? Like how often did that shit happen? That
I want to know what fucking year this game won Game of the Year.
It does not look great.
Look at the attack.
I'm looking. 1987. It originally
Game
came
of the
out
year,
for the
you
Commodore.
say?
It originally came out for the Commodore 64. I bet you it was game of the
Oh,
year for
okay.
the Commodore,
Here
dude.
we go. I'm kicking this punk motherfucker's ass. Look at the just constant nut shots. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah. What are you, Johnny Cage?
Dude, this guy won't die.
The podcast has turned
Oh,
into
he
a
just
Let's
did you
Play.
say he just kicked me in the ass? Watch. Okay, Game of the Year it is.
Dude, yeah, just bend over. Dude,
Oh, I don't
have
think I
you
was
ever-
hitting him before.
Have you ever gotten hit in the crotch from behind like that? It is not pleasant because
Yes.
the toe comes up. The toe comes up and hits in the, it's worse than getting hit from the front.
Oh, he got back up.
All right, the next game. Briar's having too much fun. You get like 10 seconds of gameplay. It's like a WarioWare game.
Yeah.
On to the next. No, Nobunaga's Ambition 2.
Oh, I remember that game.
So this is like, I was looking at some gameplay video. There's not really a lot of content as far as visuals.
2,
And
you
it's
said?
almost like a text-based, strategy game.
Yeah,
almost.
strategy game. Yeah.
So the reason I picked this up, it doesn't have the manual and it wasn't cheap. It was marked at $189.
Oof.
And the cart itself goes for like $150 for this, but the box was in good shape. And I don't generally like leaving a lot of credit on my account. So I try to find stuff that's, worthwhile as far as, whatever they have marked it at, whatever the market is.
I remember
So now
being a
I'm-
kid and reading about these games, and they raved about how good they were, and they'd be like, "Yeah, there's strategy games like chess and stuff like that." I'm like, I could not be less interested in this bullshit.
Yeah. It's like all text-based adventure
Yeah.
stuff. But that was kind of a popular thing back in the day, text-based
Yeah.
stuff. So people
I think
like
these
those
games
kind
are
of
well
things.
regarded. I think, right?
Yes.
I
So,
just
there's not a
selected
whole
0
lot-
players.
It's just gonna play automatically, and you're gonna sit there and watch. Is that what's gonna happen?
Maybe. Oh, look at this screen.
The
Yeah,
map
I think
screen?
that's what's happening, Jay. I think it's just playing automatically. I might leave this one running for a bit.
All right, we can talk about the next few. I'll find a couple that don't really need a lot of explanation. So games that I got in the mail: Super Soccer Champ for SNES. It's the game in the box. This is the reason I got this is because it was cheap and it's made by Taito, Taito. Pretty much anything Taito ends up becoming collectible at some point.
Really?
But it's actually a fairly well-reviewed soccer game for the SNES. Wasn't a terrible game. So that's not one that probably needs gameplay.
I'm
And
looking it up
then-
anyway. Super Soccer Champ.
Okay, so then if you're on SNES, so I'll go to the
No, you can
next
keep
SNES.
talking. Super Soccer Champ.
So the next game is for the
There's a
SNES,
Super Soccer and a Super Soccer Champ.
Super Soccer Champ, the arcade hit.
I wouldn't do the at-home hit. Tato.
The next one, Super Nintendo, is Jim Power: The Lost Dimension in 3D for the SNES. This is complete in box. This is the price I paid for this game. That's on the sticker.
How much?
$25
$24.99?
is what I paid shipped. Yeah, $25. And I didn't have a playable version of this. I've had the sealed that I got years ago. That's been on the shelf that I had in sealed condition, but I didn't have a playable version. It doesn't look like a horrible game, but the reviews were not favorable on this platforming game. It is not like a super well-regarded game, but you know,
I've never
looks
heard of it.
interesting.
Like, it doesn't even ring a
Sure.
bell. Like,
Yeah, no.
nothing. Oh, it looks good, though. It looks
says-
nice. Whoa, look at that scrolling. That's all fucked up. The background is scrolling to the right. If I'm walking
It's like backwards parallax.
walking to the
scrolling.
right, yeah. That's messed up.
There was another game that we
Ninja
talked about that
Gaiden,
had
on TurboGrafx, or
that had the reverse parallax. Like he knew exactly
yeah.
what I was talking about.
like basically renders. I am getting my ass kicked by the first enemy in this game.
So it says the Lost Dimension can be experienced with or without 3D glasses. So they're trying to make it a three-dimensional experience
Oh.
with that reverse parallax bullshit.
Oh, I was supposed to duck there. Apparently, it's
But it doesn't
colorful
look
game.
like it doesn't look horrible, but yeah, it's like color vomit on the screen right now for sure. It's just a lot of stuff going on.
What else you got?
I got one Genesis game, but you probably don't need to put Zombies Ate My Neighbors. So
Oh,
the
it's
reason I
classic.
got this, I actually paid market for this, and the reason is we talked about 2 episodes ago, or 1 episode ago, I got Hyperstone Heist complete in box.
Yeah.
But the reason I bought this is because this had the poster and the like registration card. So what I ended up doing, I stole the poster and registration card from this and put it in TMNT because they're both Konami games. And so I basically doubled the value of my Hyperstone Heist game. And now I have a decent complete copy of Zombies Ate My Neighbors for Genesis too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Is that game worth?
Like 60, $70 complete.
That's a classic game. It's really good.
It's a little bit more expensive on SNES, as most games are, because
It's another franchise just buried under the yoke of corrupt Konami.
corrupt Konami NFTs.
Yeah.
N64 is the next system. Going for Aiden Chronicles: The First Mage, which is like an RPG. A decent game, not amazing, but
Black
like, for those that
cartridge.
like- yeah.
What makes them so fucking special? They get a black cartridge.
THQ had colored.
Oh, yeah.
cartridges.
THQ and first name equality. Right up
I
there with
mean-
LJN.
THQ did the Tony Hawk games. So,
That's
and
true.
they were all
That's true.
colored cartridges.
Wait, wasn't that
And black-
Activision? I thought Activision did the Tony Hawk games.
Hold on. Wasn't it Tony? What wasn't it? THQ? Now I'm looking at pictures. No, you're right. It was Activision. Why did I think THQ? What did THQ do? THQ and 64 games. Oh, they did WWF No Mercy. They did Quest. Wait, did they? It's just showing me pictures. They're not necessarily accurate. 63 games published by THQ. They did Conker's Bad Fur Day. Quest 64, Road Rash 64, a lot of bullshit, Rugrats, Scooby-Doo. They did like all of the WWF and WCW N64 games, which was like 6.
Yeah, some of those I think were good, right?
WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy, which was good. Revenge, WCW, NWO Revenge, World Tour, and Nitro. They did all those. So, but the better games, probably best one would be Conquer for sure. Out of all those. Anyways. Next game's actually really good regardless of who developed it. It's Konami again, I forgot. Mystical Ninja starring Goemon.
Ah!
So, I have this sealed, I think. Is this the one that I have sealed? No, I didn't have this at all in my collection. So these are very sought after right now.
Yeah.
And like this is like an $80 cartridge. And basically I got a quote unquote non-working N64 lot for $150. And I took it to the retro store and N64 was working, so they gave me like $70 cash for the N64. It had this game in it, plus like Smash Bros 64, Super Mario 64, and a bunch of other games. So basically I got this game for free. And so yeah.
What's it say on the top?
Some Mystical Ninja.
Because I thought maybe it was the kid's name who owned it.
No. I think because, you know, these games, a lot of people print out stickers and stuff for collecting purposes because, you know.
It's hard to store those if you don't have like boxes or anything. Because you can't see, like it's hard to see what they are. I was thinking about ordering a sticker set for the top. To make it a little easier to identify them.
All right, so quickly, probably don't need video on these. Sonic Advance 2 for the GBA. It's a little beat up, but this was actually one that I only had sealed. I didn't have a playable copy, so this came in a lot with like a DS Lite and a bunch of other games. So I kept this and selling the rest. I don't know exactly. I think it's just like, are these like new games?
I think they were new. Yeah.
Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Cream. Oh.
Whoa.
I didn't realize that there were new experiences, so I'll have to check out that. And then Wario
That sounds
Land,
like a new experience.
Wario Land 3.
Oh yeah.
In minty shape for Game Boy. And the thing that I realized after I got this, I went back and looked at the pictures. This originally had the cellophane on the outside, and he didn't ship it with it, which I'm sad about. He had like the OG with like it was like new. I don't know why he didn't.
Wait a minute. So I thought Wario Land was Super Mario 3. Wario.
That was the first one. That was the first.
Oh, okay.
One.
So there were three of those, and then the fourth one came out for the Game Boy Advance.
Correct.
So Super Mario 3 on the Game Boy started.
Super Mario Land 3.
Super Mario Land 3 on the Game Boy started Wario's series, but it started. They just went to Wario 2.
Yeah, Wario Land, Super Mario Bros. Or Super Mario Land 3, Wario Land, and then Wario Land 2 is Game Boy Color, and Wario Land 3 is Game Boy Color, and Wario Land 4 is Advance, and then they had Wario Land for Virtual Boy, which is a unique title as well.
Yeah,
which
I have the one for the Game Boy Advance, and I like it. It's good.
Yeah, they're good games, good platforming games. His sprite is so much bigger than Mario.
Yeah, but he doesn't move like Mario either.
He's a chunker, yeah. All right. Quickly, these other ones probably don't need video either. Pokemon White 2, I traded some manuals for this, basically, like an empty box and some manuals for this. So I'm now starting to work on my DS Pokemon collection. I have like half of them. And then a few Switch games I got in trade. One of them is retro styled, Shantae and the Half Genie Hero for Switch.
Yeah, that's a limited run joint, right? I have that one too.
This was not limited run.
Oh, it wasn't.
This one was this was licensed and released by Nintendo. A limited run one is quite a bit more expensive. There was like 4 of them for limited run. There's like Pirate's Curse, or Shantae, like just Shantae. Pirate's Curse is the expensive one. It's like $500 or something stupid, right?
I hope that's the one I have.
Just look, like straight up, one of them is stupid expensive, like almost as expensive as the OG Game Boy Color one, which is weird.
I'll tell you what, if it's that one, I'm gonna sell it tonight because I don't really like the Shantae games that much.
All right, I will talk to me. I might buy it off you. Wonder Boy, Dragon Tail, which is kind of a retro
Dragon Trap.
style.
Yeah.
Dragon Trap, sorry. So this looked like a kind of a fun game. So basically, the way that I'm trading stuff, I just have a bunch of old stuff that I've had for a while, and if I find things that are of equal value that look interesting, I'm like, all right, sure, let's trade. And then Fire Emblem Warriors for the Switch.
Oh, nice.
Fire Emblem games are always interesting to me.
They got a lot of good buzz when it came out.
Yeah. And then that's it. That's it. That was a lot, but probably going to start slowing down. So thank you to everybody's patience. For those who don't like the pickups part, somebody popped into stream the other day and they said, I love the podcast. I was like, what's your favorite part? They're like, I love the news. So shout out to Tree. Thanks for the feedback there.
Nice. I like the news too. I like all 3 parts. I guess there's 4 if you talk about the intro too.
Mm-hmm.
But now we get to the end. This is my least favorite part.
Yeah, right.
Saying goodbye.
This is... I have next episode's game, and
oh yes,
so,
what's that?
So
come on, no whammies, no whammies.
A few things. I'm not giving Briar a choice. This is what it is. So
okay.
This week's was Phantasy Star, which was a long RPG and a very expensive cart. So I was like, let's do the opposite of that. A shorter experience that is affordable if you want to buy it. And
sounds great. Quick and cheap, just like how I like my men.
Well, that's it for the show. I'm not releasing any information. Catch us next time. No. Blaster Master.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yep.
I love me some Blaster Master. I actually own a complete copy of that game.
Nice. I have not played this game in a long time. And for those of note, there are 2 versions of the box art. This is the first print with the round seal, and then there's also an oval seal version.
Oh,
so
I wonder which one I have.
Yeah. But this is one of those games, kind of like Guardian Legend, that has multiple different styles of gameplay during the game, where you have the like little you're like in a tank platforming, jumping around, which is weird to be in a tank that can like hop.
Yeah.
And then it's got the first person or third person like shooting elements and stuff. So
yeah,
I haven't played this game in 25 years, but I loved it as a kid. So I'm excited to jump into it again.
It was extraordinarily cool, like to be in a tank that could jump around and shoot. This game is a good game. It's like a legitimately
quite
good game.
Difficult.
I don't think it's that difficult.
Okay, we'll see.
They revived this series like 5 or 6 years ago with the I believe they're called Master Blaster Zero games. There's 3 of those.
And then there's Blaster Master Boy, which I don't know if that's the same series.
Did they make a Blaster Master 2 for the Genesis? It always seemed weird to me that this didn't get a Blaster Master 2 on the NES, because it was a fairly early NES game, and I thought it was popular. Like everybody I know had it. You know, it's one of those games that like everybody had.
Blaster Master Boy is on Game Boy, and Blaster Master Enemy Below is on Color. Yeah, Blaster Master 2 is on Genesis. I didn't even know that there was a Blaster Master 2. And then there's a PlayStation Blaster Master Blasting Again.
Blasting Again. Which is like of that era.
Yeah, they say that Blaster on how long to complete Blaster Masters in the 4-hour range, which is perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect. I love this game. I just started playing it while you were talking, and that's basically what I'm going to be doing all night now.
Oh, this level is so familiar, that first level. Well, that's the end of the show. See you later.
Right? I forgot how to get out of the thing.
Oh yeah, you're super.
You
aren't you like mega ultra tiny if you get out of it?
Yeah.
Like just like
not
a low
that
guy.
small, honestly. Like I don't think I'd fit that fat head in that vehicle. Like, I don't think this is very realistic. This this boy loses his frog and finds a tank game.
I'm excited to play this. It should be fun.
Oh, you gotta hit down to get in. Oh yeah, and then there's the overhead, like out of the tank part.
All right, Briar, where can we find
Okay, my bad.
inside playing Blaster Master right now. It's
Yeah.
just like he's totally zoned in.
I'm totally into it. Yeah, you can find me on multiple podcasts. We just did Side Quest last week. We had last night. Did a ton of fun doing that. We got a bunch of really good guests coming up on DCP on Thursday night, so tune in for that. And we'll be playing Blaster Master for the next 2 weeks. Let us know what you think about Blaster Master in the comments for the video or on the podcast itself. Jay, what are you up to?
Getting prepared for Witch Queen and Destiny, and I'm gonna try to check out the Pokemon Arceus or whatever it's called on Friday, potentially on stream. It looks there's been a bunch of people like playing it early, and they're like, no spoilers, but it's amazing. So I haven't been super excited about a Pokemon game. I mean, I was excited about some of the other ones, but they didn't really fit my niche. So definitely will be checking that out, and then maybe Blaster Master on stream potentially, if that sounds fun. But otherwise, you can catch me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at JSniperton. And yeah, I'll probably be collecting games and buying too much shit. So.
All right, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.